So GoHighLevel just released a brand new AI booking bot workflow action, and I couldn't be more excited to make this video because after multiple releases from High Level with conversational AI and conversation AI and their GPT workflow action, they didn't quite, in my opinion, nail the appointment booking bot functions that were required to actually replace Zapier. And up until this point, I would get a ton of messages from people asking me why I still use Zapier, and people would ask me that over and over again. And now GoHighLevel has released this feature that is going to change the way that agencies book appointments for their clients, or you as a business owner will book appointments for your business. So let me walk you through how it actually works and demo it. That way we can show you firsthand how it works. And then I have a simple document here that kind of goes over the pros and the cons and, you know, really what this feature release is. So first things first, this is a workflow action. So all I have here is just when a customer replies, we are going to run them through our appointment booking conversation AI bot, right? Which is kind of a mouthful, but essentially this is our AI booking bot, and all of it exists within High Level. I have my calendar here linked. I have the personality of the bot and then my prompt. I won't get into all that right in this moment. So let me just show you how this works. So if I message the bot and I just say, hey, this is obviously a High Level account, and then I'm messaging, you know, this sub account over here. So we should get a message back in just a few seconds running the prompt that I have inside of this workflow action. No Zapier needed, and it's just basically going to run through the prompt. So perfect. Hi there, I'm Jackie from Simple Home Buyers. So if you're new to my channel, I work with investors and I help them find off-market deals using Facebook ads and AI booking bots. So this is basically my motivated seller prompt that I use to qualify motivated seller leads and send them to my clients, right? So could you share a bit about the property's condition? So I'm just going to say it's in bad condition. And then it will obviously move into the next step of the prompt. And all these questions that it's going to ask me are, you know, built inside of the prompt. So you can swap this out for any niche. It's super easy and very low tech skills required to actually set this up, right? So can you tell me why you're considering selling? So I'll just say inherited. And then it's going to move me into the next question, you know, that I have in the prompt. And what's cool about this is, like I said, no Zapier required. It's pretty fast, and it still can handle objections pretty well. So I'll demo that function in a second. But do you have a specific time frame in mind for when you'd like to sell? And then I can just say ASAP here. And there's probably about 3 or 4 more questions before it will send me the actual or try to get me to book the appointment. And you'll see that there is no appointment booking link required. So it will book natively inside of your GoHighLevel calendar through the conversation. So for the asking price, I'll just put 500K. And just so you're aware, these are all questions that my clients, you know, want to know with the leads that they were talking to before they get on an actual call to see if it even makes sense. So these can all be questions for your business, or if you're an agency, for your client's business, right? So is the property already listed with an agent? So I actually have a disqualifying criteria in the prompt, which this was one of the things that I had tested with the other versions of, you know, the AI booking bots that High Level released. And there's multiple reasons why this one is the one that I'm making a video on and am saying that, like, this is actually solid. But to keep it very simple, it was very complicated internally to create disqualifying parameters. And 2, it wouldn't always like acknowledge the actual disqualifying parameter. And so it would just bypass it like it didn't even exist, right? So using Zapier was still a little bit more technical, but once it was set up, there was really no error in the actual bot and the responses, right? So now this thing actually does respect the disqualifying parameter here, where if the property is listed, we don't want to get on an appointment with them. And I don't want to say no in this part of the demo because then, you know, we can't book the appointment. So, or excuse me, I don't want to say yes that it's listed. So I'm just going to say no, it's not listed. And then we should get right into the actual appointment booking function. But I did just previously test this, and if the property was listed or they say that it's listed, it would not allow me to book the appointment after like 3 different attempts. So could you please provide the complete address? And this is another function as well, which the other bots inside of High Level didn't, you know, actually acknowledge, which is in the prompt, I want the complete address of the property. So you can think of what that something like that would be for your business. So the complete address of the property is obviously going to be the actual street, the city, the state, and the zip code, right? So if somebody just puts 123 ABC, that's not the correct or complete address, right? And so what the other bots didn't do is it would just move on to the next question. This should ask me to include the city, state. I don't think I have zip code in there, or actually it didn't do it in that case. So there are still some bugs in this, but it's good enough. And so now it's asking me to actually book an appointment. So just to kind of clarify that, in all my other tests, it would ask for the city and the state. And so these are kind of some of the things that you're not going to get. You'll never get that with Zapier. But like I said, for the majority of people, this is going to be good enough. But I still intend on using Zapier until, this really just outperforms it, just because I'm good with setting all that up. So it's not really difficult for me. But this will make it easier for most of you to just plug in an AI system, and it's going to be good enough, right? So how about booking in a call with our lead concierge, Andy? So that's just like my client's name. So I'm just going to say, it said, when would you be available? So I can say tomorrow. And here starts kind of the AI booking bot function that is conversational, right? So it can now book an appointment via the conversation. So it should just send me a list of times. And I'll show you one of the cons here as to why I still would use Zapier. But you can see here are some available times for tomorrow. It's kind of written weird, but the 2nd of September, 2024. So this is where it's interesting. So if I go into this actual sub account here where the bot exists, so you'll see here in this prompt, I have this calendar, right? So this is where it's pulling the availability from, or where it should be, right? So if we click on calendar test right here, and if I go to my settings and I go to calendars, you can see here I have this calendar test. And so if you look at I can do it this way. So I'll pull open this actual calendar, right? So you can see here that this is the actual availability, right, of the calendar. And so it's basically Monday through Friday, like 8 to around 4 p.m., right? So what I was experiencing, and we'll see if it corrected itself, but I was seeing it would show availability for like Saturday, for example, where there is no actual availability, and then it would keep sending you a list of times, and then you could choose them, but then it said, sorry, like it's not available. So let's just kind of see if we could break it real quick right here. But like I said, for the majority of people, this should be good enough, but you do have to be cognizant of what these types of errors could be. So let's just say, let's just say September 7th, because I'm pretty sure if I'm going to break it, that's how I'll break it, by just kind of saying a direct date versus asking. So let's see if I could break it. If it doesn't break, then cool. Then sometimes I've seen this thing like fix itself, so it's kind of a weird thing, but let's see what it says. So there is no availability September 7th, so let's see what it says. It should say, no, but let's see if it pushes out times or how it kind of handles the objections. And then once we do that, I'll just kind of book something in, and then I'll show you, this document that just kind of outlines, what are the pros of this. Okay, cool. So this did correct right here. I was able to break it. I probably could break it if I do a few different things, but like I said, that's good enough for most customers. Most customers aren't going to think like a marketer or a bot builder. So, that's just kind of what you have to realize, is if it's good enough, it should be good. You just want to make sure you can catch anything that, potentially could go wrong. So I'm going to say today, I just want to see if it breaks, because I was able to get it to like give me times for, a day that was not available. So if it doesn't say anything here, then that's good enough. Most people aren't going to push, 2 times, right, and try to like break a bot, unless they know, that it's a bot and they're trying to break it. So cool. So this is good. I like this. So now we can just say 8:30, and then it should confirm the actual, like September 2nd at 8:30 a.m. And then I'll just say yes, and then it will actually book the appointment. And then I'll show you inside of the account where this, where the bot is. Oops, that's my cat just came up here. You'll see the actual appointment get booked right here. once I confirm. So you'll see there's nothing there right now. Once this finally loads, let's see if this loads. Well, I'll let that load. Oh, it already booked me, which is interesting. Okay, so I've seen it do a few different things, but well, there you go, right? I have seen it ask and confirm, like, so we're going to book you for September 2nd at 8:30 a.m. and then you say yes, but this is booked as of right now. So that's the function. What I do want to show you is I want to kind of show you how it handles the objections. So that's obviously if somebody just goes straight through the bot and, you know, like just answers all the questions, which sometimes will happen, but sometimes people will ask questions and stuff like that. So I'm going to delete, you know, myself as a contact, send another message to it, and show you how it can still handle the objections of the customer, but have the goal of booking an appointment. Okay, so I deleted myself, so you'll still see this thread. This is between, you know, me, the customer, and the bot, but I deleted it on the end where the actual bot is. So it's going to start it as a new conversation. So if I say hello, it's going to start running the same prompt that we already saw from up here. It should, we may see some variance in how it responds here, but in general, it should follow this, you know, pretty closely. I have seen it mix up the order of the questions and how it asks them. So we'll see what it does. So, hey there, how can I assist you today? So you can see here that this one introduced itself. So kind of one of the cons of this is you can't control what's called the temperature, which is how kind of creative the responses are. So I usually like my bots to be on the lowest end because I don't really want a lot of variance in how it's actually behaving, because that's where you start getting into like unpredictable responses. But this is good enough, right? So let's just kind of mess with it and see what it does, because this is really where you know, you can see if this is going to be useful for you. Most of the people I've actually, you know, installed this for, you know, the customers don't really have, like, they're not really going to break your bot, right? If everything's set up technically correct, and like I said, this is the version of GoHighLevel's bot that I'm actually telling you is like, you can plug this in and it's going to work really well. So you really shouldn't see, you know, just test it yourself, right? But you shouldn't really see any sort of, you know, like random responses or things like that. Some of the other versions did do that, and so I haven't experienced that yet with this. The worst I've experienced with this is just it would show availability that was not there. So you can see here it says maybe my Zapier bot would probably respond differently and clarify what they meant. So this isn't quite as dynamic, but let's just see, right? So let's just kind of mess with it, right? Because really what we want to see is, can we use one workflow action, right, which is this workflow action, and one solid prompt that can handle objections but get customers to book an appointment. If we can do that with this, this is going to really impact your business, right? So in my tests, it can do this. There it is. It's introducing itself, and then it's telling, you know, the lead why, you know, why we're messaging and what she's here to help with. And now it's kind of moving her back, or moving the lead back into the qualifying questions, right? So I can say, I'm going to mess with it again. Can you just get me an offer? And let's just see what it does, right? What we want it to do is just kind of hear what the lead is saying, but push them back to like, hey, you need to answer these qualifying questions so we could see if an offer makes sense, right? I can help with that to get started. Can you share more about your property? So perfect, right? So this is great. And just to not make this video extremely long, I told you that I have a disqualifying parameter in there for if the property is listed that we don't want to book an appointment. So I'm going to see, can I just book an appointment? I want to see if it lets me do it based on just without, you know, without answering the qualifying questions, right? And I could potentially change that. So, okay, so it is letting me book an appointment. So that's something to change within the prompt. And you can have your prompt do different things. If you want it to be super rigid where people have to answer the qualifying questions, then you can probably adjust that. And if you want it to be more conversational and get the questions if it can, and then like this, it'll just open up a slot or open up that availability. If somebody initiates the appointment, you can do it that way as well. So let me just show you though, if I do want to test that now that we're doing this video. So let me in the prompt make an adjustment and see what it will say if I try to ask for an appointment right away. All right, so I made a change to the prompt, so I'm going to message it again real quick. I'm going to just start it with hello because I don't want to break it right away. Most people won't say, hello, can I book an appointment without any sort of contact. So let's see what happens. So it should start the conversation over because I deleted the contact. There you go. And I can say, can I book an appointment? I'd like a cash offer. So based on what I prompted it to do, it should not allow this based on how I prompted it. Let's see. And this would just be to illustrate to you guys, you can make it very rigid. And this is what, okay, so I don't know why it may need to refresh the actual prompt, or this is one of those cons of not having a bot on Zapier, because Zapier would not allow that to happen. I can delete it one more time and see if it refreshes to make sure that, you know, that is the case. And if so, that's just going to be one of the cons of the actual, this workflow action, but you can see it's still pretty solid. All right, so let's see if it will actually, you know, block the appointment. I can also see how it's, at least based on that version of the prompt, that it's saying that yes, like we can book an appointment, but you need to answer all these questions. So I could see how maybe I misinterpreted that in the moment. So let's just see. I'm going to shout at it. Let's just see if what it will do now. I made a slight tweak in the prompt, and I also refreshed it again. So let's see if we can get it to say something different than this. If it doesn't, then that may just be its way of making sure they answer the questions. And then I'll just say, I don't want to answer that. Can I just talk to someone? And then it should block that. So let's see. I'm just going to say the exact same thing. That way we split test it evenly. And yeah, let's see what it says here. The other awesome thing of this system is it works on Facebook Messenger and on, so there it's doing it again, and on Instagram. But let's see here. So could you please provide me? So it is doing what the prompt says. So that's fine. So let's just say I don't have time to text. Can I please just book an appointment? And it should just say something like, hey, you know, we can't book the appointment until we have these details, or something like that. Let's just see what it does. And I mean, like I said, this is good enough. I just ruthlessly test these things, so I understand to give you the best service. Cool. That's great. I like that. I approve that for sure. Can you just call me? I'm just messing with it at this point because we've had people say that, and I'm curious if it'll say, like, see what it does right here. Let's see. I'd love to assist. Okay, so it's pretty you know, rigid on that process, which is fine, which I may be able to adjust that in the prompt. So that's my kind of overview, test, and review of it. So you guys can see this for yourself. It's super easy to create. I'll show you guys, you know, how I created it. And if you know, are newer to GoHighLevel, you want to partner with me as an affiliate, I'll give you this. It's a super simple workflow to make. But we'll also have a framework for a prompt in here, so you can have the bot do exactly what I just had it do right there. And you can just swap it out for different niches or whatever you're trying to do. But we just have a customer replied trigger. I don't have it on any specific channel. And then right here you just click on the plus, and it's now called the appointment booking conversation AI bot. It's a mouthful. You got to choose your calendar here. So you create a calendar first. That's where it pulls the availability from. And then you have your personality, your additional instructions. I have my messages maxed out at the 25. So after 25 messages, it probably exits the workflow, but the lead can still enter back into the workflow. I'm just not sure if it still has memory of the you know, of the conversation. So that's another thing to test. And then timeout. So if after, you know, this value here and this unit, so after 24 hours, it will time out, and then, you know, the contact will lead. So you could change this to something else. And here's where you select the channel. So this is cool. And then this function is when somebody books an appointment, if you turn this on, this basically doesn't allow the bot to like confirm, hey, you've booked for 8:30 a.m. on Monday. So if you have this turned on here, it's not going to let the bot do that. If you have it off, it will do that. So that's it. It's just super, super simple. And then you just have your prompt in here. Very, very simple. So like I said, if you guys do a trial using my link, you'll get access to my premium group. I have different bots in there. I do weekly Q&A calls and all that stuff. and there's about 220 other people in there that you can connect with and learn from as well. But I'm really focused on the AI booking bot stuff. I think this is huge, and so this is how you build it, regardless of if you want to partner with me on that. So here's that, and then let me just kind of walk you through my notes for this. So the pros is it's conversational booking. You guys saw that. There was no link sending right there. It confirmed the appointment just right there in the chat. So that's huge, super huge. No Zapier needed, right? If you've watched my other videos, I can get very technical because I've been doing this for quite some time. So using Zapier for me is no problem, but the speed in which you can deploy something like this, now this is just a simple snapshot, right? So there's no Zapier needed. There's no other, I know there's other softwares that have bots that they link to GoHighLevel and stuff like that. So you really don't need any of those unless you're having other intents for the bot, like to, be like a support assistant or something like that. But if you're looking for primarily to book appointments with qualified leads, I would say test this, and it should be good enough to not need Zapier. I still think Zapier is the best, but the best will vary depending on your use case and your experience. Because if you're not very technical, or it's a lot more work to set up the Zapier versus something like this, and it's taking away from your focus of like growing your business and just working on getting new leads, then I would say the most simple setup will be the best, as long as it's doing its job, right? So maybe test this with, like, you could do a round robin right here. I think you could split, so you could just do like 15% of your leads will go to the bot. That way you don't break your whole thing. And then so like, for example, path A gets 15%. So let's say somebody filled out a lead form or something. You could do a trigger there for a lead form and a tag. And then when somebody has that tag and they reply, then it will go to this bot. And then you can leave 85% to your existing system or something like that and see how it works. And then that way you get some real life feedback, right? So that's probably how I'd recommend testing that. It's instantaneous setup. Like I said, I mean, you could download the snapshot from me or just build it yourself. And if you're providing this to clients, I mean, it's done. It's in their account. It's ready to go. You just change the prompt. You can map custom values so the bot knows, who the bot is representing, which company or whatever. All that can just be in custom values or internal fields from GoHighLevel. So it's just way faster. And it also works with Facebook, Instagram, and SMS. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I've built custom Facebook and IG bots, but you need to get their email, and it just can be very intense to set up some of the systems that I have. So this is going to be great for a lot of you guys. So those are the pros. Some of the cons, if you look back, I 2 videos or 3, I have a video called the world-class booking bot. And what that bot can do is it can actually take notes on the lead. So let me show you an example. Okay, so if I actually showed you all the notes, it would give away all this property data and stuff because leads are engaging. So I kind of just found one where the property that we generated had already sold. But basically what my world-class bot can do using Zapier and the GPT note-taking function is every time the lead responds, ChatGPT will analyze the entire conversation and take notes on the most recent interaction. And so instead of my clients going in here and taking notes and stuff like that, and if the bot has had a full-on conversation with the lead, instead of having to, go into the chat and scroll through all the messages, my client can literally just scan all the notes and then click into the contact and pretty much understand the whole dynamic of the conversation. So I'm showing you a note here of a property that was sold, which the bot determined because the lady told us it was sold, and the bot facilitated the whole conversation. So my client can just log in, oh, this property sold, right? So that is one of kind of the cons of this. I'm sure GoHighLevel will add that function in. You just can't natively do that because you can't use any sort of data that the bot is sending to the lead. You can't necessarily do that. There is other ways you can do it, but you can't do it quite the way that I do it now. So that's just one con. You also can't update the pipeline stages on the lead. So if you see in that world-class AI bot video, I basically have it set up to where it'll analyze the whole conversation between the lead and the bot. And based on that conversation, it'll determine if it's a bad lead, a good lead, or a great lead. And you can't quite do that. But like I said, for the majority of people, this won't even matter. Just getting the appointments booked is probably good enough. And then the cons here, not always accurate availability. I was proven wrong on that in this video. So you'll just have to test it and let me know if it has accurate availability, but as of now, it did perform on that. So not really any cons. This is a great release by GoHighLevel. Like I said, if you want to partner with me, click that link below. You'll get access to my community, weekly calls, and snapshots, everything you need to start and grow your agency or SaaS. So, this is a great release and should be very exciting for you to grow your business. So summarizing kind of the whole video, this bot will be good enough for the majority of people that are looking to get appointments booked for their business or their client's business, but I still don't believe it's the best bot. The best bot is still using Zapier directly in terms of just pure how the actual bot responds and all the data that you can give the bot and just how well it responds. But for the majority of people, this is good enough. If I didn't even tell you about Zapier or anything, you wouldn't even care or really be missing out on too much. It's just because I'm a little advanced with this stuff that I'll tell you that one's better. But I highly recommend plugging this in, getting this going so you get more appointments for your business. And yeah, I hope this video helps you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.